The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mind Garden Media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions. It's been a few days.
It has been. I missed you.
Did you
not
really?
because I just talked to you a little while ago. But I mean, I missed this. This was fun.
Yeah.
So we haven't done this in a couple of weeks. Because last week, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties, which were out of our control.
Last week was Thanksgiving. The week before.
Yeah. So that's right. So actually, it's been almost 3 weeks. So yeah. And I'm excited for tonight, though. And look, we both have the same hoodie on. How cute is that?
I wasn't sure what I was going to wear tonight, and then I realized this was sitting on my floor because you had sent it to me, or somebody sent it to me. I thought, well, that'll be perfect. I love doing a hoodie for the podcast, and it just happens to be the Fort Schuyler Paranormal hoodie.
Of which you are now a member. So
correct.
You get your hoodie. And yeah, Dave actually sent that out. So good evening, Joanne. Hi, Vicky. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We have a really cool guest on tonight that I'm really excited to have. And she's so nice, too. So this will be a really good evening. I do have some good news, though. I don't have to do grand jury duty. I'm so excited. Todd, you make fun of me. But I have so much on my plate right now. The last thing I needed was grand jury duty. So I'm very excited. Hi, Tammy. Tammy, by the way, Dave and I are coming out in June. We have our tickets. So we all have to get together in June. I know that seems like forever, but it's not. It'll go fast.
So just for anybody keeping track, we went from not seeing one another to no jury duty to making a trip out here. So, I mean, that's in exactly, I think we've been on a total of 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So,
would you rather I be miserable?
Well, here's the thing. You have been miserable.
I have been.
So what people don't know is that, and I mentioned this earlier, I was on a conference call with Tammy and some other people. And I said, what you see, the hour that you see weekly of Sandy and I together is just an hour. But you have no idea what the rest of that time is like for the rest of the week, because you've been worried about jury duty. And I'll tell you the truth. So last week when all this was going on and I was snickering a little bit at you about jury duty, I did a little bit of this action, a little pendulum action. And I asked if you were going to have to do jury duty, and it said no. And in the back of my mind, even before I asked this, I knew that you were not going to have to go. And I was, how was that?
Why? How did you know? How would you know?
I knew you weren't going to have to. I knew you were getting worked up over nothing. So I just kind of sat back and watched it for a little bit. And I knew you really had anxiety over it. And I feel bad about that.
Yeah.
But then, you didn't have to go. And I'm thinking, see, I knew it. I knew she wasn't going to have to go.
Well, I do have a lot on my plate right now. A lot. We just got a kitten who needs his leg amputated.
So she got another cat, and now the cat needs a leg amputation.
Right, which we knew was going to happen. We just weren't expecting it, so soon. He's 6 months old, and his foot, they aren't sure if he was born. He was a litter that was found at a pool place. And they aren't sure if the mother chewed it off, which does happen sometimes by mistake. She doesn't do it on purpose. Or that maybe the umbilical cord got wrapped around it, or he was just born without it. So it's a little uncomfortable for him. He kind of uses it like as a leg, even though he shouldn't. So we're going to have that amputated, at least partially, for him in a couple of weeks. I have to get my eye injections in a couple of weeks. I have work to do, and so I just have so much going on right now.
Poor girl. Ridiculous. I feel so bad for her, and I'm just sitting here shaking my head at it.
But I will say this though, Todd, honestly, I've been using my pendulum a lot too. Sup, Drew. Sup, G. And it was like dead on. Like every question I asked was like, no, you're not going to have to do it. And I have to say, it kind of made me feel a lot better. And then last night when I called, they said that my numbers, because I was like 159, my number had to call back this morning at 11 to see if I was going to have to do afternoon jury choosing.
Right.
And I even asked it about that. Hi, Jay. And it said no. So I did feel better doing the pendulum. I really trust my pendulum a lot because a lot of the stuff that I ask it really does happen. So yeah. So I'm just glad I don't have any other time, when I didn't have all this stuff going on. Okay. But I have appointments, it's just craziness. So anyway, so I'm just happy about that. So I feel a little bit better. Having a better day now. At least some of that stress is off of me. So
yeah, we just gave all the stress to our listeners. There's your dose of drama for tonight.
No, they love us. But it's true though. It is definitely true that no matter, you guys just see that 1 hour, but there's a lot that goes into a podcast. Even if we weren't doing the live cast, just the audio version of it, a lot of work. But it's fun and we really enjoy it. But Jay, I'm going to ask that after the thing. I'm going to ask if you get to. I hope so. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I love you. I hope so.
So, let's get to our guest tonight.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you this because I've known Yvette for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to school with Yvette, and I didn't know her that well in high school. In high school, I was an introvert, which is what I still am today. But the difference is that I've learned to deal with it and kind of come out of my shell when I need to come out of my shell.
Justin, he's returned.
Well,
Hi, Justin.
he's out of Facebook jail, but he's got to behave himself because he's going to go back.
He's going to be back there.
He's one of those return offenders on Facebook. Trust me.
Well, so in New York, we have bail reform. So if you were in New York, you'd be good to go.
So I've known her for quite a while.
Right.
And I don't know how I met back up with her, but it's through the Woo Woo Ways or something like that, or one of the groups we are on Facebook or whatever. And I think I had at one point had been talking about my health concerns, and she gave me some advice, and I took her advice, and I was kind of blown away. I didn't realize that she had gotten into crystals as much as she has.
Right.
So I'm really excited about having her on tonight. I think it's going to be a really interesting podcast. I think that we're going to learn a lot tonight, and I can't wait to get to her story. So let's bring her on tonight and introduce her and get her story. Yvette Miller Hewitt, thanks for being on the program tonight. There she is.
Yvette. Welcome.
So there's something really weird with the sound right now. It's like really slow. Remember when you played the records really slow? That's how it sounds.
This is good.
So I'm like pulling all my crystals and I'm like, is there demons coming in? What is happening? But all I can hear is this really slow, like growling noise.
Really?
That is kind of freaky. I'm sure it has something to do with your internet, to be honest with you.
I can hear nothing that you're saying.
It's probably her headset. Do you want to try getting your other headset?
Should I take them off?
Maybe. Yeah. Try that. That's funny. Looks like Facebook's having some problems tonight as usual, too.
Don't forget, you guys, you can catch us on YouTube.
We're on Twitch. Still the same.
Twitch.
Am I coming over to you okay?
Yes.
Sound-wise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything was fine before we started the broadcast.
I know.
That is so weird.
Vicky says no problems on her side.
I don't know what else to do.
Drew, it's probably your phone.
Should I try? Let's see.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to bump her off and let her try and come back in.
Okay.
I'm going to ban her, and I do that. Just going to bump her off and see if she can come back in. There we go. We'll give her a shot to come back in. I'll go back into my story about her. So I didn't know her that well in high school. And I think she's a year younger than me. And so when she kind of reached down, she said, "You need to try this." I was kind of blown away by it. How's that? Is that better, Yvette?
I can't hear you guys normal. You're not demonic anymore.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, that's good.
That was weird.
Todd's a little sometimes, but
A little dark energy going on. I mean, I understand that.
I know. We'll work on that.
So, Yvette, you reached out to me a while back. I think I'd posted online about headache issues, and I said something about, what do people do for headaches, blah blah blah. And I think I specifically asked about CBD oil or something like that. And you opened up to me and you reached out with some advice, which I want to thank you for, because I really appreciate that. But then that allowed me to ask you about your entrance into crystals and healing and all that kind of stuff. And I was blown away by your story. So would you share with our listeners tonight how you got to where you are today? You're a registered nurse. How did you get to using crystals?
Well, my very first use with a crystal was while I was working in a correctional system. I was a weekend charge nurse in an inner city Milwaukee prison. And you can imagine the negative energy that I incurred every day. And being an empath, you feel it.
Right.
You can put up all the protection you want, but you feel it. So I went to a crystal shop and I was like, I need something for negative energy. Help. That's where it started. So I got a piece of black obsidian and I started carrying it in my pocket every day at work. And then it just kind of started with that piece of that one crystal.
So you started with crystals, but when it comes to like the healing aspect of it and things like that, I know that you've had some health issues. You've really gone down a rough road.
Yeah. So it was kind of weird. I've been a nurse for 19 years. Yeah, 19 years.
Wow.
So a lot of that is, like medical background, everything is medical. And it wasn't working for me. I was spending most of my hours in bed. My quality of life had really declined. And then it all came to a head about 2.5 years ago, about 2 years ago, when I was diagnosed with a whole bunch of stuff at once. My biggest diagnosis was Lyme disease. And so I started on the treatment with that. And I ended up being done with work the following February of 2020. I took about 7 months off to do the treatment. And I like the medical medicine part of it kept making me sicker. Like more meds, more everything, medication management. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. I just don't believe that I have to live my life like this. And so then I started reaching out to other people that have like homeopathic backgrounds and spiritual backgrounds, and like, you guys just throw something at me, I'll try anything. And I started with Gina, who was on here recently. I did a session with her. I started going to acupuncture. I started doing watching Abraham Hicks, who's a big one on manifestation. And then I got into Dr. Joe Dispenza with quantum healing. And the crystals I really connected with somewhere in between like acupuncture and Abraham Hicks. I really just started delving into that and connecting more with them and just learning more things about them and bringing them into my treatment plan that I made for myself, and just placing them in places where I could amplify my healing and my treatment plan. Yeah.
So how do you go to work every day as a nurse? And I struggle with this now too, because I'm in one of those with the medicines and stuff like that. You're taking this medicine, but now you got to take this medicine because you're taking that medicine and it's creating other issues. Kind of going through that myself right now. How do you reconcile the fact that you are a registered nurse, and yet you believe in some of this other healing ability, holistic healing, crystals, all that kind of stuff? Do you marry the two? Do they work together? Or do you kind of have a line in your life where this part of me is a registered nurse, but this part of me is a believer in that?
So I quit my job. Correction. Because, well, number one, my doctor was very frank with me and said, if you go back to that environment, you'll crash and burn. And I said, you're right. And so then I took a job with a BioLife, a plasmapheresis company. So it's a very different kind of nursing. I don't have to educate people on medications and things like that every day. The type of job that I do now is very different. So I did that as part of it. It's not that I don't believe in the medical world. I believe that there's a perfect balance between Eastern and Western medicine.
Right. Agree.
And I think that that's becoming more of the common knowledge of people, and so they're reaching out to these other approaches to try to bring them into their life so that we aren't managing care, we're helping people heal. Like we can heal.
How are you doing health-wise now? Do you feel like you've healed some of the things that you were going through? Yes,
but I had to dig deep. A lot of it was past trauma. I had to change some relationships, sever some relationships. I really had to do some healing internally myself and improve my love for me. I think that's where it really had to start. So that was hard to peel back those layers and look at that. Yuck.
It's not pretty, and to be honest, it's not an easy task to do. And I think that's why a lot of people, including myself, kind of put off doing it, because it's a lot of hard work. And if you're doing it by yourself, I think it almost seems insurmountable at times.
But that's the thing, you don't have to do it by yourself. There's so many people out there like Gina, like my acupuncturist, like myself, that are willing to guide people through that and help them and say, you're not alone. There is a better way to live your life. Here's the hard work to do. Here's how we can help you do it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's just those supportive services that everybody kind of is learning to connect with, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's walk back a little bit, because I know that you are a medium and you practice Reiki. Are your abilities something that you knew, or sort of maybe subconsciously knew about your whole life, or is this something that you just sort of fell into?
Let me just add on to that. Like, did you know in high school you had abilities? Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Even before that. Yeah. And then I kind of hit that decade or so where, there was that darkness period where I went through some bad things and some tough things, and they went away. I mean, I lost touch with myself. So then, of course, you lose those abilities. Once in a while, they would pop up, but I was in such a dark place that I would just ignore them.
Yeah.
So then, as I started healing, boy, they just popped right back open. I'm like, whoo, hey guys, welcome back.
That's what I'm learning a lot. Like, my sisters have gotten into it, and my sister Vicky has really kind of healed her past lives and gone through a lot of that process. And the more she heals, the more ability she finds she has,
Yes, I would agree with that. I was at a painting, an intuitive painting session on Friday with my friend Tracy, who has just started opening up her gifts. And we were done with the painting, just talking with the owner of the shop, and the owner was telling us how a spirit had come into the shop. And I looked around and I was like, nope, it's not mine. Like I could tell right away, like, nope, it's not anyone associated with me. And then she's like, it's a female. And I was like, oh, it's Aunt Kathy. My friend Tracy, her Aunt Kathy had passed away. I think it was in July.
Wow.
So she had come into the room to communicate with Tracy through Karen and I. It was really cool.
Tammy asks about intuitive painting. Where did you do that at?
I know. I would love to do that.
Up in Green Bay, Energetic Arts. So you do like fluid art, and then she does the intuitive message. She reads like the intuitive message.
Oh my
you.
gosh, that's so awesome. Tammy, we should go. I would love
Well,
to.
Tammy and I were talking about the fact that we were going to do, she's thinking about doing a podcast, and I said there should be artwork on the podcast, but it should just be stick figures because none of us can actually do anything that's artistic. So
You cannot screw up fluid art. Like you can't. You just can't do it.
It's sort of like a BLT. How can you screw up a BLT? You can't screw
Right.
up into, you know.
by using really cheap bacon. That's how you screw up a BLT.
That's true. Or turkey bacon.
There you go.
Right.
Oh God, no. So that's so interesting. Now, what kind of gifts do you have? Everybody's a little bit different. So what kind of abilities do you actually have?
My knowing is pretty strong, and once in a while I'll have seeing. But I really have to be in a calm and in tune state.
Yeah.
That's not as common for me.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It
And how
is.
did you get into the Reiki?
Well, it was just kind of another level to learn, and I just wanted to check it out, really. So I thought, well, why not? My friend wanted to do a class, and I'm like, sure, I'll do a class with you. And I mean, I had done Healing Touch. It used to be called Healing Touch. Oh gosh. Probably it was when I was at LPN. So probably 15 years ago. State of Care had actually offered us that class, and I was like, oh yeah, I would love to help people heal with energy work. And so I had done that a long time ago, but then never really used it a whole lot. And so I felt like Reiki would be another opportunity to try to use more energy work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love Reiki. I think
Yeah.
Reiki is amazing what it can do. I had a session with Gina as well, and I thought what Gina did just completely left me a different person.
Yes.
When I was
Every
done
time.
with her. It
Every
was so
time.
wild. Every single time I was a different person when I was done. It was crazy. And she had me doing things that just kind of blew my mind. And so, any kind of energy and healing and anything like that, inner healing is so important because I don't think you can truly, live and experience life if you don't heal first. Heal yourself first.
I would agree.
Just want to let people know if they've got a question for Yvette tonight, they can shoot it in the comments there and we'll get them to her. And then I just also want to let people know that we are going to do an after the live cast. So there'll be some specific special content that'll be going to the Stay Weirdos Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast that you can't see tonight. And I want to prep you, Yvette. The question's going to be like the top 5 crystals that you think everybody should have. And then we'll have some other questions for you too. So be ready for that.
Todd asks weird questions, but just go with
I love weird.
Todd's weird.
No, yeah, just a little bit. So I want to get back to the crystals. You said, when you were working at that facility in corrections and you're an empath, I can't even imagine what that would be like. I can hardly go to a grocery store and deal with the energy there. I can't imagine what that was. Seriously. I mean, and I think Sandy and I will both admit to this. Now that we've had the pandemic and everybody's kind of stayed home and, just kind of done their own thing for a while. I don't want to go out. I don't ever want to leave. I've got a roll of toilet paper in this house and I've got to go out and get some. I'm trying to find other ways of wiping my butt because I don't want to go out, So, I mean, really, what was it like for you in that situation? It had to have just been horrible.
So this is a hard one. Like I would find ways to manage it. So I kind of got a nickname, like when I would walk on the unit, people would call me Sunshine. Like, hey, like, oh, hey, Sunshine. Like, because I would always just bring that calm and that light.
Right.
Or if there was like a difficult situation, they would send me in because they'd know that I could go in and talk to somebody, but also like I had very hard boundaries and I followed the rules to a T. So they knew that I was very strict. So it's like when you start at an institution, everybody that comes in contact with you is going to try to take advantage of you. But once you establish your professionalism, your calmness, let them know that you are really there because you care and you want to provide good care, the whole tone changes. I mean, I'd have people, inmates yelling horrible things at me, and another inmate would say, "No, don't yell at her. She's cool. That's Miss Moore." And they would like shut it down for me. So it was just kind of establishing that reputation and doing that upfront work that kind of set the tone for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were still situations where you would walk in and they would be exhausting and you would have to go back to the unit and just like sit there for moments. Or I'm not saying the job didn't exhaust me. It was very exhausting, but I had done it so I worked in corrections for 22 years.
Wow.
Like that's what I knew. I don't ever want to say that I miss it, but I feel like it was really a big part of me to give that service to
I was
the
just going to
world.
say, you may not miss it, but I think that it misses you a little bit. Like your
Yeah.
energy and your personality and your gifts were probably very needed in that situation.
Yes, I agree.
I think that empaths have probably one of the most difficult jobs there is because our tendency is to want to heal, but our
Right.
tendency, our defense mechanism is to sort of shut ourselves down and, build the walls up so that we don't
Yep.
get too hurt.
I saw
So
a
it's sort of-
great meme that I'm an empath. I love humans, but I hate people. That's kind of how I feel about it. Like I
It's
want to
hard.
I want to love everybody, but I hate them kind
I
of too,
know. I know.
Yeah.
So it is difficult. So I can't even imagine. They used to call me when I was in retail management years ago. They made me the customer service manager because I just would like calm people down. And of
Right.
course, back then I didn't know what was going on with me, and I had no idea. But I was just like, so when you said Sunshine, it kind of made me chuckle a little bit because I'm like, yeah, that was me, customer service manager in retail.
Right.
But yeah, so.
That's why they made me the weekend charge nurse, because they knew I could handle it. And I'm like, yes, but I can't handle it.
I know, right? It's hard. It's hard, but yeah.
Right.
So wow, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So tell me, what is quantum healing? I'm not sure that many people understand what quantum healing is.
Oh, it is amazing. Sorry.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You sound like a stoner. It's
I
like,
know.
It's
it's so
exactly
amazing.
that. It's like the best weed you've ever smoked. Sorry. So quantum healing is about the energy that you put out and what your beliefs are. So I was told that I would never heal from Lyme's disease, that it would take me 2 to 3 years to get back to somewhat of a normal life. And I was like, no, I'm not listening to that. I don't want to hear that. That is not what I do. Right. So part of the healing journey was digging into Dr. Joe Dispenza. I started listening to his meditations. He focuses on doing that deep inner work, telling yourself different things, changing your mindset, reframing your thoughts. So, I don't tell people I have a list of illnesses. I say I'm healing, and you just leave it at that. So you don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution.
Right.
So it's just a different way of thinking, retraining your brain so that you're not focused on the problem, you're focused on the solution, is really the easiest way for me to describe it. But it's also doing that deeper work to get there again too.
So
I'm gonna have to change my ways because I'm the first one to go, well, I've got this, and then I'm dealing with that right now, and my hip hurts. And by the way, my eyesight, that's kind of how my life is. I mean, I am the poster child of what needs to change in life. Like I have so much work to do, and I admit that, but eventually I'll get there.
you
You
will.
will.
You will.
Yeah, you will. I
My
just don't
pendulum.
wake up every day. Like I wake up every day and my feet hurt. And then I start walking and I start thinking about, oh, I'm walking. I feel good that I'm walking. So then I change my mindset about it. Instead of thinking about, oh, it hurts to work, or it hurts to walk, I'm thinking about, okay, I'm walking.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that.
I need to come with a syringe and jab that in you, and whatever that is that makes you feel that way or think that way, just suck it out, and then I'll sell that. I'll put a,
Yeah,
like, a
but
little,
Okay.
like a
but-
little lemonade stand out front, and I'll just sell good vibes.
you know what though, Todd? Like I've had to practice it without even realizing it with my eyes lately. I have retinopathy, and it requires, as of a month or so ago, it requires every 6 to 8 weeks injections in my
Okay.
eyes. And so I've had to sort of go through this cycle of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do if I lose my sight. I'm just going to go crazy. And the truth is, though, and I've had to do that sort of thinking now and say, but you're seeing 20/20 with your corrective lenses. You're actually being proactive in what you're doing, and you're making it better. And look, you can see and you can drive and you can see fine now. You don't have any real issues because of what you're doing. And it's really that mindset that gets you turned around and not looking at it as this terrifying thing. It's sort
Yep.
of something you're grateful for, you're thankful for.
Yep.
It's changing that mindset. So I have had to do it. I didn't realize that I was doing that per se, but it is something that I've started to really turn around. So yeah, it works too, because I feel so much better now. Even that fear that I had in the beginning is now gone.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I think
kudos.
that's the biggest part with quantum healing is letting go of that fear.
Yeah.
That was huge for me. Like, I don't believe that. I don't even believe that I have Lyme right now. I just don't believe it. I don't have any symptoms of it. I may just be in remission, but
Mhm.
I choose to believe that I don't have it in my body at all. Done. Gone.
We all know the power. We know the power of thought. We know
Yeah.
that, belief and faith, and no matter whether it's religion, no matter what it is very powerful,
Yeah.
because that in and of itself can heal you. So I totally agree in that
That's
thought
how we're
process.
going to heal the world, because we're going to get everybody thinking at that level, and that vibrational energy is just going to make the world a better place.
Agree.
We're doing it.
Seems to be. I mean, I feel like there's this movement to a certain extent, and I
Mhm.
guess that's a layman's term in looking at it, but I feel like, as you mentioned, Yvette, like people are starting to marry the Western and Eastern medicine and healing and stuff like that. They're looking at other forms of getting better other than just taking the drugs that are prescribed and all that kind of stuff. How do you go from buying a crystal to help you get through the day at your job to owning a store? I mean,
Yeah.
what's that process like, and what
Do
made
you
you
want
decide
to
to do
know?
that? Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
It was an accident. Oh my gosh. I was shopping on this auction site. Yes, I'll call it that. She's a lady out of Green Bay who sells cabochons, and I didn't even know what that was. But she's putting these up for auction, and they were beautiful stones. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to bid on some of those. I need some of those. Because she would post like what they were used for and all that. So I spent like almost $300 on these cabochons. I just kept bidding and bidding and bidding because they were gorgeous, and I thought they were stones that I could like like this size that I could carry in my pocket and they wouldn't be broken. And then I got them in the mail. And I was like, oh, these are not carryable stones. I will break these. I will ruin these. And that'll be like $300 down the drain.
Mhm.
Like, well, what am I going to do about this? So then I reached out to her, and for her to wrap them, it would have cost me $40 per stone, like to wear them as a necklace.
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, that would have been like $800 more. So we're like, oh, I'm just going to learn how to wrap them myself. And then I'm going to maybe sell some jewelry online. And then next thing you knew it, I was spending thousands of dollars opening a crystal store. Here's my thing. So everybody is like, you should go to these metaphysical fairs and all that. And I'm like, why? They're like, to sell your crystals. And I'm like, I don't want to sell my crystals. I want to get my crystals into people's hands that don't have them and don't know about them and want to connect them. All the people are going to the metaphysical fairs, they already know about them.
Right.
So I go to like these vendor fairs or these art and craft shows, and I connect people with them that way. And it's mind blowing to me how hungry people are for this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, people want to know. It's amazing.
Well, and again, we talk about this a lot in our conversations with our guests, and that is there is that desire for knowledge. And as you said earlier, you don't have to do this alone. But as humans, I think sometimes we're afraid to ask the questions. We're afraid to find the people to ask the questions that we have. So if you're out in public and you're already there to ask, and we don't have to come find you, it's even easier. So,
Right.
Facebook's it has become a very good place to kind of spread the message that you're trying to spread. I think it's great.
Yeah. Now
You know-
to get a storefront,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
next.
It's funny because even my husband, he's on our paranormal investigations team, and he actually practices Reiki, not professionally, but he does Reiki and stuff. But he's
Yeah.
not really into the crystals or anything like that. He actually made a statement the other day that really took me back. He said, in a lot of ways, the world seems to be growing up. We sort of started to evolve a little bit. Not all of us, unfortunately, but I think enough of us where we are curious now. We are interested in maybe learning a little something different and trying new things and maybe taking a road that we haven't taken before. And I've sort of noticed that too. And I do think that online has really helped that. I think that podcasts, like ours or any of the metaphysical podcasts, anything like that, really help people to understand that no matter what your level of understanding, there's always room to learn more.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
100 times. I learn something or 10 things a day. It just is mind blowing.
It's true.
Speaking of which, Tammy's asking the questions. If you're new to crystals, how do you choose or find the crystals you need? What's the best way to do that?
So what I've had this at the shows, people walk up to my tables of rocks and they'll say, well, how do I know what I need? And I'm like, well, what do you think you need help with? So is it a physical ailment? Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is something like an environmental thing in your home? And then I'll go from there and connect them. I also have an intuitive gift where if I'm connecting in with that person to engage in that conversation with them, the my guide team will help me and connect them with the correct crystal that they truly need. The thing is that I've found about crystals, and I don't know if anybody would agree with me on this or not, because most people don't talk about this stuff, but I have 6 or 7 books on crystals. And sometimes I read them and I'm like, no, I don't think that's right. The thing is, if you pick up a rock and I pick up a rock, we're both going to get different feelings from it,
Right.
and different needs, different energy. we might all feel energy, but it's all going to serve a different purpose for each of us. So for me to just pull open a book sometimes and read it, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to connect into that energy and that flow that I'm getting from source and my guide team, and just know that that's the correct connection. So I focus more on that.
I think that's good. And I think that our podcast has tried to keep the door open in that everybody's experiences is a little different. My energy is different from yours, is different from Sandy's. And so the way we experience things and the energy that we feel, even in similar situations, will be different. And I think we need to be open to know that what works for Sandy may not work for me, may not work for you. We'll find what works for us. And that's our path. And it's okay to be different from other people. And it's okay for us to, not have the same response that somebody else would have. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And in your show notes that you provided, one of the things that I just loved about what you said was everything is energy.
It is.
And
I just got full body chills, you guys. Like I am just it tingles so hard it hurts right now.
we, when it comes to paranormal research over the years, I've really come to determine that I don't know that I believe in ghosts and stuff like that as much as I believe in energy. Spirit is energy. We are energy. Everything is energy.
Right.
And so when I read that, I was like, that's exactly how I feel about life. Everything is energy.
Yes.
Everything. And we're all connected. Everything is connected.
Yeah. Agree.
That's why we're gonna make this a better world to live in, because we're all doing this, or not all of us, but a lot of us are doing that work to raise up the vibrational energy of the world. That's why it's happening.
How do we connect more? Like, I feel like there's a lot of people who do this in secret, who feel this way or do research in secret or afraid to reach out and find other people to connect with and stuff like that. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's this fear of saying, hey, I believe in this stuff, because as humans in the world we live in, sometimes we're afraid to make that statement. It
Put
takes
ourselves out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we need to do to make that easier for people?
You come to Circle.
Explain what that means for people who don't understand.
You come to, so there's circles or groups where people like me come together and we talk about stuff. We talk about the energies that are going on. We talk about the visits that we've had from, star beings, or dreams that we've had, or experiences that we've had. We share that stuff and there's no judgment. It's like this free space where people can talk about this stuff and not be judged.
Yeah.
And I think that the more of that's going on, that's been one of my goals. That's my goal for the greater Fond du Lac area right now, is to, after the holidays, I'm going to work harder at it to get that connection going, because there's so many people right here. But as far as I know, we don't have a group like that gets together. So Gina keeps telling me, well, Yvette, that's because you're the one to start the group. And I'm like, well, of course I am. Let me get that started.
But I think it's so true, though. It's so true. Like you said, Todd, we can all be on different paths, and we are. I don't think no two people are exactly alike in their path, their journey. But if you have people there supporting you, even if they're on a different path than you are, there's still that support. And that's what circles do, and groups and meetings and things like us. I think that shows you that it's okay. You're not, when I was growing up, I didn't talk about the paranormal. I told myself that I didn't have, I just completely, I shut down. I didn't allow myself to think that I had abilities or anything like that, because I didn't want to be weird. I was already weird enough.
I was just going to say, I
know I beat you to that one. But I was the eternal introvert. I stayed to myself. I wanted to learn so badly. And I feel like if I had that support growing up, I think it would be a different path for me at this point.
Absolutely.
You know?
Have you ever read the books Medical Medium, Anthony
Mm-mm.
William?
No.
Mind blowing. A lot of my healing, some of my healing was through him too, with the Lyme and that. He's a medical medium, and he wrote several books, and he was supported from childhood on, and this guy is just amazing.
Wow.
So he has this direct connection to help us with future technologies that we aren't even aware of and ways to heal, and he's providing them to us now.
Wow.
So like millions of people have healed with his stuff. And it's all like natural
Mm-hmm.
natural
it's-
things.
Called Medical Medium.
Yeah, Anthony William.
Anthony Williams.
William. Yep.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
don't know if it's,
I'm gonna write that down because I will
I know.
forget.
I know.
yeah, I think that's his maybe first name, middle name. I'm not sure.
And speaking of healing and crystals, is it as simple as when you have crystals, you go to, say, a vendor fair and you connect with somebody and they purchase certain crystals? Is it as simple as just carrying them on your person that helps you? How can somebody who's new to crystals actually take that first step after buying them and start on that road?
So, with some of my customers that are like very, very new to crystals, I personally will connect them with like a mantra.
Mhm.
I'll say, okay, I had my friend's little girl. They had a very scary incident happen at night outside their home. The little girl had some PTSD going on and she was having trouble sleeping. And I said, okay, I know what she needs. So I gave her 2 crystals and I said, here's the crystal she carries like in bed at night, put it under her pillow, inside her pillowcase. And before she goes to sleep, I want her to say this mantra. And I wrote this nice mantra to help her kind of ease, let her know she's loved and she's safe. And within a couple nights, her mom was like, I didn't even notice anything. Like she's been sleeping perfectly fine. She's not woke up. She's not had any bad dreams. And she's been sleeping fine since. That's been
Mhm.
like 2 months ago. And then I gave her a piece of black obsidian. I said she can carry this during the day or she can wake up in the morning and she can say this mantra. So it's just like acknowledging that crystal and what its healing properties are and making it part of like a prayer. That's really what a mantra is. And it gives you that power and that energy and that shift in your thought.
Lisa's got a question for you. She says she'd love to learn more about charging and cleaning crystals. Can you give us kind of a brief synopsis of charging and cleaning crystals?
Clear quartz is your amplifier of anything. Selenite is your charger. And as far as clearing, you can set them out in the sun, or like I usually use Palo Santo, and I just do a clearing, with the smoke over them, and I'll say some words and release any energies or ties to them. That's what I do. It seems to work good because my house is loaded with them.
You know what would be kind of interesting? I wonder if we did like an episode of the podcast and had you do and let everybody get their crystals ready one night and we do like a cleaning or a charging right here on a podcast that people could follow along with. What do you
That's
think?
I would
awesome.
love that.
That would be very cool. I would love that. Mine are sitting on my selenite right now.
Make sure you recharge your selenite too.
Yep,
I gotta turn
yep.
the volume down. Sorry, it got a little
Oh,
loud.
that's okay. Yeah. So I think that would be great if you'd be willing to do that. I think that would be wonderful.
And you recharge your selenite under the full moon, but make sure you don't leave it out in rain or snow because it's sensitive to water and moisture.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So what do you do in Wisconsin when it's full moon and you want to recharge your cell? I mean, how do you do that? What do you do?
I just set it out on my deck,
Okay.
even in winter.
Gotcha.
I put mine out on my back patio steps and just let it sit.
And then like this window behind me is south facing. So if I really wanted to, I could just set it in there and the moonlight's going to beam in there.
Yep.
So you can set it in your windowsill too. That gets the moonlight.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that you would love to share tonight? Give you a couple seconds here to say whatever you want to say. I do want to remind people to find you on Facebook. You can search for Carnelian Corner Crystals on Facebook.
That's me.
Right.
Yep.
And you will find Yvette and all of the crystals that she has available and so forth. But go ahead.
I have to go shopping. Just saying.
So I don't have
Just
a
saying.
lot like posted, but I do Facebook lives where you can
Awesome.
shop like during the show. Yeah.
Very
or come
cool.
to my local vendor events, which
Love it.
Sandy, that's a little far for you.
Little
but-
bit, but I'll be there in June.
Cool.
So,
I'm
yep.
gonna try to do the farmers market this summer downtown Fond du Lac.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool. We'll have to go to the Fond du Lac one, honey.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Great. That'll be fun.
Yay!
No, but if somebody reached out to you and said, hey, I'm looking for this or I need help with that, you could certainly help them via Facebook, right?
Yes, absolutely. I can't find moldavite right now. Sorry, guys.
What's up with that?
I don't know. It's very hard to find right now. Genuine moldavite. Everybody
like-
wants it.
There's like one person and they've got it like stashed away
Yeah, I
someplace.
can't
Right?
find that person
600
right now.
pounds of it, you know.
He's somewhere, or she.
Thank you so much for being on with us. And if
Yeah.
we could, I'd love to schedule like a little session so that we can do some cleaning and clearing and charging and stuff like that.
That would be
I
great.
love that. My singing bowl already said they'd want to be a part of that, so we can start with that.
Awesome. That would be
Yeah.
great. I know we did a pendulum talk with Todd's sister Vicky, and
I love my
people-
pendulum.
oh my gosh, me too. And people had their pendulums, and it was a
Yes.
really fun hour. So yeah, we'll definitely have to do something.
Love it.
Cool. Yvette, do you stick around because we're going to do an after the live cast. Sandy and I are going to bullshit here for a minute, and then we'll be right back. Okay. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Hopefully
Thank you.
Hopefully no more demonic voices.
That was so
It
weird.
was so weird.
Thank you so much.
That was so fun. I like her.
That was great. I like her a lot.
I know
Very
I've got a demonic voice in my little sound machine over here, but I can't find it. All I can do is hello.
Oh God. The one that creeps me out is when you're like Santa Claus, and that's very odd. So
I can do that at any time. I was
Stop.
just going to say, I'm going to take a moment here. Like I need to earn some extra money this month. So if anybody needs a Santa Claus voice, I will call your kids and pretend to be Santa Claus. Or if you need one for a commercial, I do a very good Santa Claus.
You know what,
So I
everybody?
could-
Seriously, he is a really good Santa Claus. I'm not just saying that.
So I can do a really good Santa Claus. If you've got the need for a naughty Santa, like to call a loved one, I can play the part of a perverted Santa Claus.
maybe
and I
I'll
can
have you call Dave.
And I can also do and you know this, I can do the evil Santa as well.
Yes.
So, and that is a Santa Claus who will basically say, be good or I'm going to fuck you up. So, I mean, I can do all those voices and I'll do a kid's call or something for you for like $5. So
That's pretty cool. I would take advantage of it. $5 a You are a very good Santa, though. I would have to say that. So
yeah, so that was a great one. And then
I
our first
really
one back
enjoyed
after
it.
a couple of weeks. So that
I
was
know.
nice.
So we have a couple more episodes, a couple more live casts to go.
2.
Yep. And then we're going to take a couple weeks off just in between seasons. We're heading into season 4 in January.
God.
And I know, can you believe it? And to celebrate our 1-year anniversary in January, we're going to have a whole bunch of fun stuff. I've been making these things. I have to tell everybody that I've been making these.
Do you
'cause
have
they're
them
so
with you?
cool. I
Are they
don't
with
have
you?
one right with
Okay.
me. I don't have one right with me. But if you've ever heard or if you've never heard of a thing called a witch's ball, it's so cool. It's all kinds of herbs and crystals, all kinds of things in sort of a see-through round or whatever shape you want to do ornament. And you can hang it in your home to bring you good luck, to cleanse your home, to keep it. And I've made a whole bunch of them. And we're going to be giving some away throughout January, which should be a lot of fun, different things. One of the ways that you can win stuff, we are going to have t-shirts, I think. One of the ways that you can win things is by leaving us a review, either on our Facebook page or on any of our audio cast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Audible, any of those, you can leave us a review. And if you do, you'll be in the running to win some cool prizes as well. We've got some other stuff up our sleeves too. So make sure that you join our group, Stay Weirdos, Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast, because that's where a lot of this is going to happen. But you'll have to leave the review on our Sandy and Toddcast, a regular page, just to make that clear. And our after the live cast will be up in our group tonight at some point.
Yeah. So if you have not joined the Stay Weirdos, Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast, do that right now. If you're on Facebook, as soon as we go away, go over there and ask to join. We'll get you in. And then you'll be able to see the additional video with Yvette coming tonight. So
yes. And the more reviews you leave us, the more chances you have to win. And also, it just helps us out because the more reviews we get, the further up on the chain we end up. And that's just more of us.
Which we all want. We all want more Sandy and Todd.
Who wouldn't, you know? Yeah, we're kind of annoying.
I'm just going to tell this. If you missed our podcast last week, so it was just Sandy and I talking, and it was primarily Sandy talking. I just kind of sat there listening to her.
Quiet.
But she said at the beginning of the podcast that she was kind of like, I guess it's okay if people listen to just us. And I'm thinking, it's our podcast. Why are you...
I don't even know why I said that, but it was funny the way it came out.
You blame me for it. You're like, come on, Todd. That should be. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. So if you missed that, you got to check that out.
Yeah. So we always have such a good time, but we're going to do some real. You're not funny, mister. And no, but we're going to have some different things. We're already tossing around some different ideas for season 4 that are going to be really neat. So looking forward to that.
My idea is every other week I go on vacation from the podcast and you find a different co-host.
My idea is no. You're stuck with me forever.
All right, we're going to go. Thanks again to Yvette. Hoping everybody has a great night. We will have that content, that extra content for you up in just a little bit on the Stay Weirdos, Friends of the Sandy and Toddcast group. Until next time, which I believe is next Thursday.
I think it's next Thursday.
We got Aaron on.
Yeah, Aaron's going to be joining us.
Stuff.
How cool is that? Right around the holidays, but it's not the kind of holiday stuff you might expect.
Yeah,
it's a little different. It's with a twist.
Different. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
think Yule if you want to. So
Jason says I am hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Right. See everybody later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.